So Kevin Stefanski just got fired from the Cleveland Browns. And listen, I'm not anti-Kevin Stefanski. I think Kevin Stefanski is a good man. I think he's a good man. He had no problems in the media, low drama, calm. I think they needed a guy like Kevin back in 2020 in that COVID year, because that COVID year was crazy, man. But he was a calming influence. And they won. They made it to the playoffs with Baker Mayfield that year. But there's a reason for that, I think. I'll talk about that in a minute. But the thing that's surprising to me is the national media's reaction to Kevin Stefanski. I keep on hearing he's a brilliant offensive mind. He's an offensive genius. He's two-time coach of the year. Now, those statements, the only one that makes sense is coach of the year. Yes, he was coach of the year, 2020 and 2023. 2020 during the COVID year, and 2023 when Flacco won his comeback of the year, and they lost in the playoffs to the Texans. So yes, these things are true. But this thing about offensive genius, I'm not sure where they're getting this from. Like Good Morning Football. Like Good Morning Football, it's still a decent show. I mean, after Kay Adams left, it fell off a little bit, but it was still fine. But then, when Nate Burleson left and then Peter Schrager left, it's almost like a shell of what it was. But today, they were talking about, every team should be lining up to get Kevin Stefanski. He's two-time coach of the year. He is a brilliant offensive mind. Hell, Seth Rollins with WWE was there. It's like, he was saying the same thing. And it's like, what are you guys watching? So here's the thing about Good Morning Football and all these national people. They're based in New York and LA. They're not suffering watching these Brown games like I am every week. They just see clips and stuff like that, and it's like, oh, the organization's a mess. Kevin is fine. Yeah, the Browns organization with Jimmy Haslam is a mess. Andrew Berry has made mistakes, even though he had a great draft this past offseason and made some really good moves this past season. But Kevin got a rigid offensive system. It's so rigid. It's very. If this was the Browns in 2010, I think Kevin Stefanski might have had a chance to win. But his offense is based in the 2010s. It's very running back heavy, tight end heavy. The wide receivers are going to have to fight for catches. It's a very old school offense. And the problem with Kevin is he wants you to fit in your system. Deshaun Watson, for all his problems, he should have never dropped off the way he did. But the way that Deshaun plays, he just couldn't fit in Kevin's system because Kevin didn't tear up the playbook for Deshaun. There's a reason why when you look over at Baker Mayfield, Baker Mayfield played okay in Cleveland. He's far better in Tampa Bay because that system fits him better. These days, you cannot just create a system and say, you need to fit into my system. And that's the way Kevin is. Now, Kevin isn't like a dictator type. He's not that. But he believes in his system so much, he feels like his system can win. And another problem with the whole Coach of the Year thing is that during those years that he won Coach of the Year, he had Alex Van Pelt by his side. Now, Alex Van Pelt was the passing coordinator, and also he kind of helped with he helped with the offense. He helped with design plays, and he's almost like the Stefanski whisperer, where he took Kevin's concepts and made it a little bit easier for the quarterbacks. So it's like, okay, well, this is what Kevin means by this. He made it. It's like you're reading like War and Peace, and Alex Van Pelt gave you the Cliff Notes version. And then he was good with in-game strategies. Like he was really a solid right hand to Kevin Stefanski. I don't know why he was let go, but it sounds like it was just a mutual thing where they just said, okay, well, I'm just going my way, and you go your way, and we're good. But ever since Alex Van Pelt left, the Cleveland offense that was maybe middle of the pack offense, not great, but middle of the pack offense, it fell off a cliff. It fell off a cliff because the QBs are kind of looking at Kevin like, okay, I know you're offensive coordinator, but I got questions. And I guess Kevin feels like I'm helping you, but I think Alex Van Pelt was like that student teacher who kind of gave you that little things like, okay, this is what I think he means. Okay, here's what we can do that kind of fit you a little bit better. So after he lost Van Pelt, Kevin went down to twos, but the national media don't know that. They just go by the two coaches of the year and act like he did this all by himself. It's like, and even now, like, I don't know if they didn't have Jim Shwartz, if the Browns didn't have Jim Shwartz as defensive coordinator, and they didn't have Myles Garrett terrorizing people, the Browns might not have won 5 games this year. The Browns might be in that number one slot if they didn't have Jim Shwartz and Myles Garrett. So listen, I think Kevin Stefanski is an all right dude. I think he's a decent coach. But this thing from the national media where they're walking around like he's this brilliant offensive mind, I don't get it. The only commentary I heard nationally that made sense to me was Rex Ryan. Rex Ryan said on Get Up, he said, I don't buy too much into this whole Coach of the Year thing. Like there's brilliant coaches, successful coaches, winning coaches who's never won Coach of the Year. Or they might have won it one time. And say there's guys that won Coach of the Year in recent years that they're not even coaching today. And he's right. He's right. Now, did Kevin deserve his Coach of the Year awards? Absolutely. He did. He did. But it wasn't like he was doing this by himself. Like he's not Sean McVay. He's not one of those dudes. I remember, this is way back, like when Bill Walsh, like the whole 49ers system, that system was built where you could put anybody in that system. Yeah, Joe Montana was the best. But if Joe was hurt, you could put anybody in that system and they would play well. New England had the same thing when they was winning with Tom Brady. You could put anybody in that system. How you think Jimmy Garoppolo got paid? Because he tear his ACL one year and Jimmy was in there and they won like 12 games. Now, Jimmy isn't Tom, but Jimmy was great in that system. They got Brian Hoyer paid. Brian Hoyer wasn't a good quarterback, but in that system, he looked really good. Kevin Stefanski doesn't have that type of offense where you can just plug somebody in regardless of who they are and they're productive. Not now. Maybe again when Alex Van Pelt was there from like 2020 to 2023, but not now. So unless Kevin Stefanski brings back Alex Van Pelt, he has a shot if he goes someplace else. But if he still believes that the offense that he's running is the offense that's going to win a Super Bowl, whoever, doesn't matter if it's Raiders, Giants, Titans, whoever, they're going to get frustrated. Because they're going to say, what is he doing? You know how many times as Brown fans, we was looking at the TV, like, oh my God, what is he doing? That's Kevin Stefanski. So if you're a Browns fan, so what are your thoughts on Kevin Stefanski? Do you think he should have been let go? I personally think the Browns waited a year too late. Because they had Mike Vrabel in the building. Andrew Berry brought on Mike Vrabel as a consultant. And he was in the building all year. And then at the end of the year, I figured, well, if they get rid of Stefanski, they got Mike Vrabel there. And that makes sense if they swap out Stefanski for Mike Vrabel, right? It's a win-win. They didn't do it. They let Mike Vrabel go. He goes to New England, and now they're in the playoffs. We had that dude in the building. We had that dude in the building. Oh. So who do you guys think the Browns should get? I don't know, man. But whoever they get, they have to bring on somebody that if he's an offensive guy, he got to have a quarterback-friendly system, kind of off the Sean McVay tree. Or if it's a defensive guy, they got to make sure that he gets offensive coordinator that brings a quarterback-friendly system, a wide receiver-friendly system. But at the same time, that's tricky because if that guy is really good, who's an OC, he'll get hired by somebody else if the Browns are very productive. So, So what do you guys think? What type of coach do you think they need? Do you think Kevin Stefanski got a raw deal? Do you think the national media is overinflated Kevin Stefanski? And what one word comes to mind of Kevin Stefanski's tenure with the Browns?